How does building relationships with regard to insurance companies, how does that really apply?
It's very important, Dean. Most adjusters within an insurance company, they live in a very cold and sterile world. It's all about profits and bottom lines and results. They're looking at, how well those people can really drive money to the bottom line of the insurance company. And these cold and sterile numbers really are what drive their decisions and drive them as employees. But when you take the time to get to know an adjuster, you get to know them on a personal basis, you let them understand your client's story and you get to know their story as well. It builds a different sense. It changes that dynamic. We're all people underneath. Sometimes it's a little more difficult with some people than others, but everyone has a heart that beats in their chest and they breathe air into their lungs. And when you can make that personal connection and build tribe, you can break through some of those barriers that traditionally cause people extreme grief.
Welcome to the 805 Law Group Podcast, your source for an entertaining blend of law and legal community updates. Each week, you'll get crucial insights into family law, personal injury, criminal defense, and estate planning, along with the latest insider information about what's happening in the local legal community and high-profile cases right here on the Central Coast. Now let's get started with your host, the founder of 805 Law Group, attorney Bill Ausman. Welcome to the 805 Law Group Podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Dean Mignola.
And I'm Bill Ausman, the founder of 805 Law Group.
Yeah, and today we're going to talk about the importance of building a tribe and building relationships, especially in the context of a personal injury case. So, Bill, kind of go over what is the importance of building a tribe and building relationships overall with regard to personal injury.
Well, building a tribe, I find incredibly important. It's important in the community. It's important here at our law firm. It's important among our clients, and it's incredibly important at the jury trial level. What I find is that the courtroom is a really unfriendly place. It's not a place where we have warm and fuzzy. It's not a place that most people go to on a daily basis. So being able to relate to people, being able to understand them, and having a sense of community or tribe is incredibly important, Dean.
Now, I assume that really ties into building trust with others. And how does that impact the success of a personal injury attorney?
Absolutely. Building trust is incredibly important. And that's part and implicit in this idea of building tribe. So when you get in there, you have to really be authentic. You have to be truthful. I think that you have to share some of your scars and some of your fears. And when you do that, you really start to relate and understand people. They understand you, you understand them. It becomes a more relatable world. It becomes a place that's more open, more understandable, and you get to know who you can trust and why you can trust them.
Yeah, well, that kind of ties into the next question because one relationship that can be a little bit challenging is with insurance companies. How does building relationships with regard to insurance companies, how does that really apply?
It's very important, Dean. Most adjusters within an insurance company, they live in a very cold and sterile world. It's all about profits and bottom lines and results. They're looking at, how well those people can really drive money to the bottom line of the insurance company. And these cold and sterile numbers really are what drive their decisions and drive them as employees. But when you take the time to get to know an adjuster, you get to know them on a personal basis, you let them understand your client's story and you get to know their story as well. it builds a different sense. It changes that dynamic. We're all people underneath. Sometimes it's a little more difficult with some people than others, but everyone has a heart that beats in their chest and they breathe air into their lungs. And when you can make that personal connection and build tribe, you can break through some of those barriers that traditionally cause people extreme grief.
Okay. Well, we talked about one important group that where building a relationship matters, but there are a whole bunch of different people involved in a personal injury case ultimately, right? What are the different types of people that you need to build relationships with? It's not just one tribe, it's multiple tribes ultimately, right?
Absolutely. And throughout the process, I find myself building tribe throughout the process. So my first and most important tribe is right here at 805 Law Group. We have an incredibly important tribe. And those tribal members are really going to drive your case. So it's not just me. Quite often another attorney will come in and help me with that case. They're a tribe member. Quite often a paralegal, a legal assistant will come in, a law clerk. We take this tribe and we know each other. We know how to work together. We listen to each other. We include our client as part of that tribe member, and they feel included and they feel part of that team, and we listen to them and they give us input. And as you build that relationship, you're ready to meet the next team. The next team, as you pointed out, may be the adjuster, maybe the defense attorney. They're a tribe. They may be a warring tribe. They may be somebody that you can include in your tribe. But as you figure out this tribe and this tribal status, you can move your tribe to the next barrier, the next challenge. And you move that into the courtroom. There's also tribes there. You have the courtroom clerk, you have the bailiff, you have the judge, you have the whole team that is driving this administration. They have their own tribe. And being able to relate your tribe to their tribe is really important. And so we try to forge those relationships that we know those judges, we've known them throughout their careers, and we're able to speak truth to power by having those tribal relationships at multiple levels. And then we move on. And then our experts, our witnesses, they're people that we also build tribe with. We get to know who they are and what they're about. And so we can relate to them in a way that's very important. It's not just transactional. It actually speaks to the person at a real and emotional level. We get to know who they are. They get to know who we are. And we bring value by bringing this tribal status, by including these people in our community. We can really include them in the process, empower them, and bring value to our clients as a tribal member who has great standing and someone that needs the assistance of the rest of the tribe.
Okay. Are you enjoying the 805 Law Group podcast so far? Make sure you never miss an episode by hitting that subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. For more information about 805 Law Group, visit our website, 805lawgroup.com. Now, let's get back to the show. Can you give us some examples where that has really, building this tribe, building those relationships have really made a difference in a personal injury case?
Absolutely. I've seen that at pretty much every level. Quite often you can build tribe with the adjuster, have them see what the value is. You give them some understanding. You give them the information that they feel they need to satisfy the bean counters that work higher up in the insurance echelon. And they're able to get the authority to get your client, get that person that's been injured, real relief in the situation. And that's marvelous when able to build tribe at that lower level. But sometimes we can't. We can't bring that tribe. There's some bean counter that wants to drive profit for the huge insurance companies, that wants to bring value to the stockholder and not to the injured individual. So at that point, we have to build our tribe and move it on to the courtroom. In the courtroom, we try to communicate that value to the courtroom clerk, to the judge, to those people. And additionally, we try to communicate that ultimately to the jury. And by building tribe, building that sense of community, that understanding that this tribe member has been injured, we can often ask for things that other people won't ask for, or they won't tell a convincing story or understand the value of building a tribe, building the value of a client's story and being able to tell that with authenticity and power.
Now, what are the strategies that you use to build these strong relationships, to build that tribe, as you said?
I think it's something that involves many different elements. One of those first things is authenticity and vulnerability.
Mhm.
You cannot be powerful without those things. You have to be honest. You have to be sincere, but you have to listen to people. You have to listen to who they are and what they're going through. And you have to be vulnerable. You have to listen to what they have to say and really allow your version of the truth to be challenged. And when you listen to people and when you absorb that, that really helps to create tribe, that creates understanding and helps build bridges that often people find insurmountable.
So, when someone is looking for a personal injury attorney or a personal injury law firm, what can they look for to give them an idea that, okay, this firm has the relationships, this firm has a tribe to really get the job done?
That's a good question. And one of the things that resists tribes is a lot of armor. People will say they're powerful and they have this armor. Well, when you have all this armor on, you're unable to listen to people. You're unable to feel what they're going through. You're not able to completely understand their story. So I would say that's really important. Is this an armored group of attorneys, or is it one that will listen to you, understand you as a human being, really understand the power of your story, able to big tribe and tell that story with authenticity? Speaking
Mhm.
truth to power as a biological advantage at every level of the litigation. You need to find a firm that will dig deep and find out what that story is and tell it.
Yeah, well, that makes a good point. Like you use the word armor, one warrior with armor is really no match against a whole tribe, right?
Absolutely. A whole tribe is able to influence decisions. We as a tribe decide juries. There's 12 people that need to decide the future. So building that tribe at the jury level, building that tribe at the law office level, building that tribe within the courtroom is absolutely important, and it gets excellent results.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Bill. That's going to wrap up this episode of the 805 Law Group podcast. Any final words before we let everybody go?
We just want to let people know that we're here. We're in the community. We love to hear from you. If you'd like to swing by, we'd love to have a cup of coffee with you and hear your story. Thanks
Oh,
for tuning
wonderful.
in.
Yeah. Well, if you enjoyed this content, please click the like button and remember to follow or subscribe depending on what platform you're on. And there's also a little bell notification. Click on that, and that will notify you when our next podcast is about to air. So we look forward to seeing you on the next podcast, and thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning into this week's episode of the 805 Law Group podcast. Don't forget to visit our website, 805lawgroup.com/podcast, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Spotify, or Amazon Music, so you never miss an episode. If you found value in the show, we'd love it if you could rate it on iTunes or even tell your friends. Make sure to join attorney Bill Ausman next week for another informative and entertaining episode. Remember, at 805 Law Group, we're turning law into empowerment, one episode at a time.